Really, really important for especially anyone who's looking to go into freelance. Working past working hour is not really a good example. So you do have to live your life, because if you don't live your life, you won't be able to get content.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Not Only Diet Talk, episode 24. In today's episode, I believe most of you will click into this episode because you probably seen some familiar face in some of the tidbits that we shared before, but still welcome to join our Not Only Diet Talk by myfindiet. And in myfindiet, we aim to bring sustainable, healthy dietary behavior for everyone. And my name is Shen Yi. Today, I'm the only host today. Ameerul, he cannot make it for today. So basically, you will expect I am going to talk with I will call it an influencer. I'm going to call her as influencer, and to discuss about the movement that she started, and also to share her experience and journey so far to spread the influence on social media. All right. So I wouldn't have any much introduction. I will give the floor to our nutritionist, Ziling. Welcome, Ziling.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Shen Yi, for the introduction. Thank you for having me over to your podcast. Not Only Diet. Sorry.
My pleasure and our team's pleasure as well. Yeah.
So my name, just for those who don't know me, my name is Zhi Ling. I am a nutritionist and also a full-time content creator now. So I create content to teach Malaysian eat healthily in a more affordable and sustainable way on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. So you can find me on any of these platforms. Just search Ziling_nutrition.
Yeah. Okay. If let's say some of you, those of our audience might have or seen your face somewhere, because when I was doing some random scrolling, right? Okay, we can see your face.
It just pop into your feed like that.
Just pop into the on my feed, and yeah, Ziling is really creating a lot of very useful content. Yeah, maybe just to share a little bit on how we, like me and Ameerul, we meet Ziling before. Basically, I think we meet during when we are still a student. We are a student, undergraduate student, and we meet in the kitchen session, like the interaction that we have. Like, yeah, right. And then basically during that time, Ziling was studying her master, and after that, after graduate, we sometimes keep contact a little bit, and yeah, it is still good to connect with Ziling back today. All right. So for everyone's information, Ziling is creating a lot of content online, and with all the useful information, you guys should check it out. But maybe I want to start. Let's start to understand your journey a little bit, Ziling. Right. So because previously I saw you initiate some movement, right? It's like the movement on like to bring packed vegetables when eating out. Was that actually like how do you come up with that idea during that time? And is that the starting point of a lot more people get to know about you?
I think I started this so-called Bring Your Own Vegetables movement.
Yeah.
I think probably last year. I explicitly talk about it more often last year. But before that, I have been doing that on and off for my eat out. So I actually bring vegetables with me to kopitiam, to some restaurant that is not so strict about bringing outside food to have my fiber intake with my local food, because I love my local food. So about whether this is the movement that more and more people know me, I'm not too sure, because my following have already grown before this movement.
Yep.
If we were using following as the indicator of popularity, then that's one of the that's the timeline lah. So it actually happened after I had certain following on my social media. So it's kind of like a just random decision of, I actually have been bringing this and then sharing this on my story.
Yeah.
but I didn't have a proper post to introduce it.
Yep.
So I think I only created this proper post, carousel post, to talk about it few months ago. Yeah, so that's where people actually have a very solid idea of how you can bring your vegetables to eat it with your local food. And more people started to adopt this practice.
Yeah.
And I'm actually quite proud of all of those people.
Yeah, exactly. And when you as a nutritionist, you start this movement, and do you think that is more credible? I'm not sure if any of the influencer started this before. Is there any?
I'm not too sure about that. From my circle,
Yeah.
I haven't seen anyone explicitly talk about it online.
Yeah.
And I think I actually received a few comments and a few inbox and saying that they have been actually doing it. It's just that they are quite shy to do it because sometimes they receive some judgmental side eye from colleagues, judgmental side eye from families. But now, because I keep talking about it, and I keep showing that, okay, I am actually doing it, and I don't feel shy or don't feel embarrassed about it. So more and more people are more comfortable at doing it. So I don't think this is a very new behavior. A lot of people have been doing it. It's just that I'm utilizing my platform to make it normal, to normalize it.
And also to reach more and more people, to let them know you can actually do this, and there's nothing to feel inferior of by bringing your own vegetables. Okay, so talking about vegetables, that is mainly about fiber, which we will discuss more. We will discuss more in the second segment of this discussion. But since you mentioned just now, basically you started the movement when you have I would say a certain pool of follower. Right. But I do believe, since based on my understanding, towards you, basically you started your social media as a content creator even before. I think during MCO we have a conversation about it. If you still remember. Yeah. So maybe you can bring us through who was Ziling before Ziling_nutrition get noticed by people.
I think it's a good place to talk about it, because I don't talk about it a lot on my platform. So they didn't know what did I do before that.
Yeah.
So like what you said just now, I was a student. I was a master's student in University of Putra, Malaysia, when I started so-called the content creation. Back then, I didn't even know that was considered content creation. I was actually just using Instagram as a platform for me to share my daily meals during MCO, because during MCO you have nothing to do, so you cook every day. So once you're done your cooking, I assemble everything, I'll take a picture and just post it online. So that's how I started. And also during pandemic, outside of that content creation, I also get to work in a telehealth company as a sales coach. So basically just coach that call people and give them very simple nutrition consultation, and then ask them whether they want to sign up 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months nutrition program or fitness program through phone. So just everything through phone, because it works really well back then during a pandemic.
During the time, yes, really well. Yeah.
Right. So that was part of my life before content creation. And also at one point, I get to be in a company that sells multifunction cooker as a recipe developer. Yeah, so that was actually very fun job for me, because
and you love cooking, right?
Correct. So I developed recipes for that particular machine, and then I have to think of a way to make the recipe work for that machine. So that's where I gain a lot more of my cooking skills from there. Not the wok pan cooking skill per se, because the machine is not wok and pan, but at least I get to know more about ingredients. I get to know more about different food culture. Yeah, so that's part of my journey. And after recipe development, I changed my role in the same company as a marketing executive. That's also another opportunity for me to learn how to market myself, learn how to create content. So it's kind of like a very nice dynamic between my full-time job back then and my side hustle content creation.
Yeah.
So I get to practice my skill in full-time job and then bring it back to my content creation path. So that was me before everything went viral. Yeah.
That's very interesting. And when you look back, probably that is the time when you realize different role that you are in that can actually contribute to what you are doing right now.
You are actually true. Yeah, it's very true. Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Right. So right now, basically, as what I understand, you are like a full-time content creator. Right. So a full-time content creator, I believe a lot of our audience will be, or your audience as well, will be very curious. And previously, you did create a video as well, a day in a life.
Oh yeah.
You remember?
With myfindiet.
Yes, with myfindiet as well. So how would your I believe after you officially quit your full-time job and then you started to involve everything full-time in this content creation, which is a new career still, especially for a healthcare professional, being a nutritionist, to venture into this career. How would you describe your a day in a life, like not with videos but by words? Yeah.
Okay. So it's basically from day to day, most of my time would be dedicated to script writing. So we have to create content. As a content creator, you create content, but you cannot create content without any script, without any base, unless you are creating recipe, and only then you think of your voiceover later. But most of the time, or at least right now, my direction of my content requires me to write a lot of script, or at least write a draft script
key
for me
point
to
and everything.
correct. And as a healthcare professional, it's even important for us to do research and double fact check, triple fact check our point every time we put out the content. So that also requires a lot of time. So most of the time it's just desk job, computer work, reading, a lot of reading or writing. And other than that, I will do shooting on weekend, I would say. So usually I shoot it on weekend because that is only the time where I won't get inquiry from email. I won't get message from brand.
Okay. Yeah.
So I can focus. So that's only the day where I can focus on creating content. So I'll just go all out and then do whatever content, or depends on how many scripts I have on my hand. Then I'll shoot 1 or 2 per day, or up to 3. So that's almost how my day-to-day look like. Just script writing, creating content, a lot of desk job, occasionally attending events. Yeah, attending events.
Attending quite a few of events, like recently especially.
Yeah, I think I get the opportunity to join this event to understand more about brands and to see how brands position themselves when they have new product launch. And then other than attending event, I also get the chance to sometimes provide corporate health talk. Yeah, so that's also that. I think a lot of our nutritionists and dietitians peers are very familiar with this part of my job.
Corporate giving talk, right? Giving corporate talk. I see.
Correct.
That sounds very interesting, but also at the same time, I'm just curious. It might not be very interesting, probably because I'm not sure how is your working hour.
Oh yes, that's a very, very good concern actually. So because you are freelance, so you really have no fixed hour. So sometimes you may have to work at night, and sometimes, of course, like what I do, I always work during weekend because weekend is the only time that I can shoot. So working hours sometimes can be quite long. So it's really, really important for especially anyone who's looking to go into freelance, to decide whether this is what they want, and to decide to lay out how they want to live their life. So working past working hour is not really a good example. So you do have to live your life, because if you don't live your life, you won't be able to get content.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So how would you balance your after work time usually?
Usually after work, I'll just work on other things.
Okay, something else.
So I'm still not a good example, but at least for my part, I have other things going on that is not nutrition. So that also helped me to get out of my nutrition role as someone that is providing something for other company. So to make it clear, I am actually creating content for my boyfriend's restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah, so as a in-house content creator, so I am not like a content creator for them, but they need content creator to help them to create content. So I'm helping them to do that. So that is another kind of outlet for me to do something that is out of my nutrition job. So in the end of the day, it's just how you balance between different parts of your life to help you to feel nourished. And yeah, correct.
Yeah, and basically it's all about balance back the different role, because I believe you're not only nutritionist, but you're also Ziling as you as a person, and with a lot of different role in your life. All right. Okay. So what is the, because previously just now you mentioned when you just started to share your picture, okay, not share your picture, but share your food that you cook, right? And then slowly you started to create reels, create more content. What is the things that spark your idea to at least, first thing first, to be consistent in creating this thing? And also, what sparked your idea to, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna create something? Yeah. Is that
Okay.
interest or how? Yeah.
Yes. Good question. So I think a lot of people ask me about this, and my answer is always, the first answer would always be this particular sentence or this particular mindset that I pick up from Dr. Ching.
Okay.
So Dr. Ching was, for those who don't know, Dr. Ching was one of the professors in University Putra Malaysia. So she was my final year project supervisor. All right. So I remember at one point when she was doing all of her, that was way before pandemic. So when she was doing all of her community projects, physical community projects, a lot of it around universities, she said this to her students. So whatever she's trying to do here is to increase the visibility of nutritionists among the community. So that's what she's trying to do. I think from that moment, I picked that up. And then whenever I create content after that, I had this sentence in my mind always to guide me towards my content creation. So it's like, okay, I do this because one of the reason is to increase the visibility of nutritionists among Malaysians. So if I keep doing this, more and more people know that, okay, there's a nutritionist in Malaysia. And now there will be more and more people know that there are dietitians and nutritionists readily providing education for them. So I think that's one of it. Yeah, one of the reasons.
Right. You know what? When you were saying this, right, it gives me goosebumps. I don't know why, because this is exactly what us myfindiet is trying to do to increase accessibility and accessibility and visibility of dietitian. And yeah, but basically this part we are really aligned. So okay, going back to you, Ziling, you mentioned that you have the mind, you have this principle, I call it principle, or key message that you want to do, right? You want to increase the visibility of nutritionists among community. And I believe, looking at the influence power that you have right now, you are actually create a ripple effect, and a lot of people are actually following your movement. And I can see you repost a lot of like your followers stories based on what they think about the content you create, the movement that you initiated. How is there any negative comment or criticism that you face along the way?
Of course there will be, because if you put yourself out there, confirm you get negative comments or critiques. Some of the, I think most of the recent one could be, for example, the one that I did with AIA. So someone commented, I forgot what's their critics, but basically they're just saying that, oh, you said you don't have to choose between heritage and health, but you are modifying it, so you're actually changing it. So you are not actually choosing heritage. So I'm like, okay, what's your logic there? So sometimes you get critics like this where the logic is not that clear. So most of the time I won't too worry about it. And some of the negative comments can be quite useful. Like for example, I remember at one point, I had this collaboration with this floor vacuum cleaner.
All right.
It was a robot vacuum. So I tie it back to the message of using robot vacuum as a tool to help you to clean your house so that you have better capacity to do other things. So that's my point of view. But then there are a few people commented, but that defeats the purpose, isn't it? Because you are not cleaning your house, so you are not getting your NEAT into your you are not non-exercise thermogenesis, activated thermogenesis. So it defeats the purpose. So it's a bit too hard sell for you to put that in. So, but after analyzing their comment, I can understand why they think that, because although my message was telling them that you can use this as a tool to help you to clear up your space, and then you can go out work out, or you can do other things that robot vacuum cannot do. But I think my message of my communication or my way of telling the message is not that clear. It's not clear enough in the reel for people to have that thought process to understand why robot vacuum can be part of your life to help you to do other things. So I understand my point, but I also understand their point. I'm not saying that my point is invalid. It's just that I can do better at improving my writing to make the message clearer. So that's how I get some. That's how I use some of the so-called negative comments. I wouldn't say those are negative comments. It's just them expressing their opinion, because these negative comments, they are not with emotions. Yeah, that's the difference. So some negative comments come with strong emotion, very aggressive. So those kind of comments, you don't have to, you really don't have to put your mind to put your mind on it already, because they are not constructive. So that's how I deal with negative comments and all.
I see. Okay, you mentioned about reels in creating content, but I think sometimes the limitation of reels is that the duration of it. You can't include everything in it, but as what you said, there is something that you learn. Yeah, that's something very interesting to know. Like basically, you receive a lot of a different type of feedback that comes from follower, and you talk about reels as well. Sometimes the duration, right? The format of the reels is kind of hard for us as a content creator to deliver all the message.
As a healthcare professional, because there are so many things that you have to talk about within that 1 minute or 1 minute and a half.
Yeah. And when you mentioned about as a healthcare professional, some quotes that you shared before come to my mind. I think it's the 2 words, it depends.
Yes, correct.
Right. So just for our audience information as well, this will be always something that as a healthcare professional, when they're being asked with some question, for example, can I take rice? Will rice make me feel make my weight increase? Is it this one better? Then oftentimes as a healthcare professional who stand at a point of view where they are neutral and they understand both sides, pros and cons of the food and nutrition content of the food, you will often get this answer of it depends. Like that. And sometimes these words itself, it might, trigger someone, annoy someone. I ask you something and you are telling me it
depends. Give me answer lah.
Yeah. And how do you explain to anyone who asks you this question, and they give you this response? Just tell me the answer lah. What depends?
Yeah, I really no. I just say it depends. I really have to force this to them because I cannot just I cannot just answer you in a very irresponsible way where I give you the answer, but then you misinterpret it and then say that, oh, the nutritionist said, okay, I can eat one.
Yeah.
Or the nutritionist say, no problem, no problem. So if
Oftentimes,
I don't do any extra explanation, if I'm not chunky enough, if I'm not long-winded enough, then people will misinterpret our message.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and oftentimes when the advice is an individual advice, maybe you can do so, but doesn't mean any other people can do so. So really,
Exactly.
it depends.
It depends. Correct.
Yeah. All right. So along your content creator journey so far, lah, how do you feel about your whole journey? Do you find like joy in terms of the things that you're doing right now, like with the mindset of we want to increase the visibility? Yeah.
Mm.
So, and also at the same time to keep consistent, to keep you going in everything, do you face any challenge?
I think for the part where whether I can find joy in it,
Yep.
I think one of the way that I keep myself feel not motivated, but like you said, find joy, is to make sure I don't stick to only one way of telling things. So for me,
All right.
for myself, I cannot just stick to only one thing and then keep saying and saying and saying. So I face this problem with my one pot series. So
Okay, yeah.
a lot of people know me
Mm.
from my one pot series, but at one point I was actually quite bored of it because it's just one pot. But I have actually a lot of one pot. You have a lot of one pot recipes that you can make
Yep.
out of it. It's just that there is nothing new for me to explore. So I cannot just keep going back for it to just create the same thing because it's easy. Yeah. So one of the ways to help me to keep it fresh for myself, which in turn keep it joyful for me,
Yep.
is to make things fresh and explore different way of telling the story or telling the information. So that's one thing. And then another thing is very important. It sounds cliche, but it is the same old word. Make sure you always remember what's your purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So make sure you remember why you started this and use that as your guideline throughout the journey. But sometimes this particular guideline may have to change along the way because you grow.
Yeah.
We all grow. We all grow older. We all grow out of our previous image.
Older version. Yep.
Correct. Previous version, older version. We have new life, new circumstances. So when it comes, we really have to be ready to get rid of the old identity. And that's where you can also find joy. Because if you keep going back to your old self, you sometimes cannot find joy anymore. Yeah, because you already outgrow it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
interesting.
correct. That's for joy part.
Yeah. How about the consistency part? But before you share about how you keep yourself consistent, right? I think one more thing that I think I can observe throughout the past 2 or 3 years as well is the environment is changing. The way we get nutrition information probably previously is always books, maybe some books, and they will just refer to like a nutritionist at their consultation room in their consultation room. But right now, the environment is changing. Like the
Yes.
accessible of information, especially credible information, is I would say it's rare in a way, like from credible sources, but also that could be something that have to drive you towards re-look back into your own purpose and what you're doing. Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So
You're right.
how about the consistency part?
Yeah. So about consistency, I am still at this point of my life. I feel like I am on the fence about consistency. So, but I would say I am talking about this from a very privileged position because I'm at this point where I can say that maybe consistency is not for me. But before that, it was actually consistency that brought me to where I am today. So I make it a point where I have to consistently put out at around 10 content a month.
Yep.
With only me and myself.
You
So
and you.
yeah, me and me, that's
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
So, but that was actually the practice, the mindset that pushed me towards this point. But at this point, forcing myself to being consistent may not be applicable to my life anymore
Mm.
because what I want to do is a little bit more complicated.
Right.
So it's not as simple as I can just shoot and then put it out like that. I'm not satisfied with that anymore.
Mm.
Yeah, I can do that. It's just that I will have to take more time to, for example, if I record something, I would put more time to edit to make it more engaging because I know how can I make it engaging so that people can pick up the message.
Yep.
Yeah, so consistency is still important. It's just that I cannot hold on to it as my identity.
Understand.
Yeah. So, but for everyone actually,
Yep.
or even for myself, certain kind of consistency is still important. Like consistent at going to your gym, showing up.
Yep.
Even if you find it hard to consistent, for example, to do daily activities, then you just find your own consistency. So everyone's consistency is very different. So it can be once a week, or it can be once a month. For example, content creation.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's just finding your own consistency.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So I have this one last question before we move on to the second part. But what you said about consistency is, I can totally relate to it, because when the quality of work that you are expecting is getting higher and higher, that means you need to take more time. You cannot everyday post already. If you post
Yeah.
every day, oh my God, you need to work 24/7.
Yeah, I'll probably have to hire a team lah. I cannot do myself lah.
Yeah, that could be one of the option after this, right?
Yes.
All right. So for the last question before we move on to talk about fiber, right? Like if you are given a chance to keep doing what you're doing for the next 10 years, that means as a full-time content creator, is there anything that you would do differently to, overcome some potential challenge that you might see right now? Yeah.
I think one of the very important things that I think I would do to keep me going for the next 10 years
Yep.
is, of course, also keep learning. So not just learning about the technical or information within your field, but learning about things outside of your field, because that will help you to, at least as my in my role as a content creator, that will help me to create content better and able to relate to a lot of different things better. Because sometimes when you experience this part of knowledge from another field, it is transferable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is transferable. And then you realize, oh, okay, actually, this is something that very similar to that particular thing that I learned. So you can relate, you can put it together, and it may create something that you will not be expecting from now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something about one of the things that I think I'll keep doing. And I guess another thing is to learn how to say no to some opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that you don't burden yourself too much about all the job that you can't take up. And also to know that which opportunity you want to take up that actually align with your goal, align with your message. Yeah, so that it's easier for you to keep going down the road with the principles that you have.
Understand that. All right. Okay, I'm interested. I'm interested with the things that you mentioned about, like maybe two things that can actually make it together. Do you have any specific example, like, or do you have any example that some things that you tried it out before or you thought of to put it together? Like if there's any,
I think one of the skills that I learned back in recipe development days, which was food photography.
Okay.
So I still have that in me. So whenever I shoot my content, it's easier for me to know how to frame my camera. and how to make it nicer. I wouldn't say my content is like very aesthetic. It's because I also need it to be easy for me to create. Yeah, but at least I have that sense with me, so it's easier for me to have that eye. So I get that from my food photography skills back in recipe development day, and also recipe development. So you do have to know how to develop a recipe and how to write a recipe. So that also helped me to write my recipe better right now. So that kind of relate, and you can transfer this skill.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, your nutrition part. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I get what you mean. And when you venture into a lot more different role, then I believe there's a lot more things you can put in to create more and more interesting content.
Yeah, or even hobbies. Yeah.
And yeah, for sure. Right. So let's go back. Let's go to the second segment that relate with the movement that I would say, yeah, as what you said just now, maybe a lot of people is doing it, but you are the person who explicitly or regularly keep repeating the same thing, which is about to bring your own vegetables, to bring your own vegetables to when you are eating out, especially. Right. So probably how would you, okay, as per general understanding, when we bring vegetable is a source of fiber. All right, fiber is one of the very important nutrients for our body, for our health as well. So generally, Ziling, how would you describe Malaysian's diet? If let's say we're narrowing down to fiber intake, like personally from what you observe, or maybe if there's some data.
I'm not sure about data, but for generally fiber intake, I started this movement. One of the main reasons also because this result from NHMS. So if any one of you don't know about this, it's our National Health and Mobility Survey. So that was a survey where our Ministry of Health did almost every year, right? Is it?
Yeah, almost every. Previously, there was I think
every 3 years.
Recently, they do it yearly. Yeah.
Okay, I hope they can.
Yeah.
So we have this data where it says 95% of Malaysians are not eating enough fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
So this is one of the most direct information that we have right now that all of us can work on. So that's why the Bring Your Vegetables movement, because it's easy and it's very direct and impactful. Because I wouldn't say we don't have to, I'm not saying that we don't have to work on other parts of our diet. It's just that by increasing your fiber intake alone, you will be experiencing a lot of benefits from it. You'll be feeling full longer. You'll be getting fiber, probably may down the road improve your blood lipid profile. So there are a lot of direct impact from just eating more vegetables. So that's why it's important for Malaysian to get more fiber. But I would say it's not easy because generally our food is just not high in fiber to begin with. Yeah, so that's why.
And what you mentioned about how to deal with other people's perception, probably. But when the movement is, everyone is supporting the movement, then when we go to kopitiam, let me something. Oh, you want to add vegetables? Sure, let me add for you. Yeah, that will be a very ideal picture that we are going to put together. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And how would you see the food culture of Malaysian?
Food culture, I think in Malaysia, most of the time, generally our food is quite rich. Quite rich because of the amount of fat we use, the types of fat we use, and also rich in flavors, creamy. That's generally if we generalize everything lah. But of course, there are so many things going on in different cuisine: Malay cuisine, Chinese cuisine, Indian cuisine. Like for example, those are not high in fat or high in sugar or whatever. It's not just the narrative around this food. There are so many things that we can learn about each cuisine also. For example, for Chinese, we love stir-fry vegetables. We always have rice and Thai. like
Yeah.
side dishes.
Yes.
So that's how usually Chinese can get balanced meal, because they always have rice and side dishes. Yeah. And for Malay cuisine, they always use a lot of local herbs and spices. So that's how you can get a lot of flavors from local spices and herbs.
Yep.
And for Indian, they make really good vegetarian food.
Yeah.
So that's also another thing that we can learn about from that food culture. So just exactly what I have been telling my audience from my reel, there is a lot of things about our food in Malaysia. So it's not just about low fiber, it's not just about high in fat. There are a lot of things that we can go deeper and then learn about it. And then when it's necessary, we can make some modifications, like adding fiber.
Yeah, like adding fiber as the movement that you mentioned is one of the easiest, and I really believe that is a beneficial way to bring some positive impact towards our health.
Small little steps. Yeah.
Yeah, small little steps. Okay, just now you shared with us about the data as well, right? 90 or 95%? 90%.
95.1%. It's
Wow,
quite
okay, that's almost everyone already.
almost. Yeah, exactly.
Who are not taking enough fruits and vegetables, which, if let's say we put it into the context, would be not taking enough fiber. They don't get enough fiber. In your personal point of view, or based on your observation as well, what do you think is the reason of, Malaysian don't take enough fiber? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There are a lot of, I think based on my observation, I feel like there are a lot of factors playing into this particular outcome of phenomenon.
Yep.
So I think the first thing we can talk about is the recipe, the food, the dishes itself. So there are a lot of dishes that we have in Malaysia: curry mee, char kway teow, chicken rice, nasi lemak. All of these are developed way back, of course.
Yep.
It's not a recent food. It's a traditional food. So when we say traditional food, usually these food are created. These food were created based on necessity. They were not created based on, oh, I want it to be balanced. I want it to be, healthy-ish. Back then, not a lot of people have this awareness. So when they created this dish, it was just, okay, I have these ingredients I had at home. So I just created this. And then everyone loves it. And then now it becomes our national food. So that's probably one of the reason why some of the food is not with fiber, because it's just not in their mind when they created the recipe. Yep. So that's one of it. And then that another perspective could be preference for white rice, because our culture, all these races, we love rice. Okay, we have rice in our meal. Rice is our staple. And from cultural perspective, white rice back then was deemed as more superior than brown rice, because people deem brown rice as Ziling, if those who understand Chinese.
Yeah,
so it's like
something like I
inferior
whole grain
mixed.
kind of things.
Yeah, it's whole grains.
Yeah.
The English name is actually quite wholesome, but in Mandarin it becomes Ziling. So it's like mixed grain that has no value. Okay, so per se. So that was the belief back then. So that's why a lot of people picked up white rice and used white rice as their main staples, because they deem that as superior. And also taste and texture wise, white rice is just easier to pick up flavor. So that's why white rice is used to make nasi lemak. It's used to make chicken rice, because they absorb flavor easier. So that's also one of the reasons. I think another reason could be agriculture. So in Malaysia, we don't have oats, we don't have sorghum, we don't have millet as our main crops. Rice is our main crops. And combining with the cultural reason of wanting white rice as their main staples, it becomes white rice as the only thing. So that's why we lack one source of fiber from whole grain already. So that's one of it. Yeah. And then economical wise, it's just not that it's not that easy for food vendors to have vegetables stored in their store easily daily like that.
That's very
because
true.
It's correct. It's very perishable.
Yep.
So you want them to have have vegetables sitting there expecting customer will order, it's very costly and risky for them to do that, because
True.
once the vegetables spoil, then their cost will go down the drain, and that's the wasted cost there already. So of course, I do hope that the demand will increase throughout the years,
Yeah.
so that vendors that they feel more okay or safe to take more vegetables into their store, and then more consumers want to get vegetables. But at this point, probably economical wise, it's not make sense for them to have so much vegetables sitting in their store. Yeah, so I think this is my observation about why we have such low fiber intake in Malaysia, especially coming from vegetables.
Do you think preference or awareness is there yet, like for the community? I believe if let's say we talk about the healthcare professional community, that this shouldn't be a problem, because we really know what is the benefits of vegetables. But how do you think about the awareness and preference of community towards fiber?
I really think that the awareness is not there yet. I don't want to live in my own bubble. Although a lot of people tag me and say that, hey, I bring my own vegetables, but that's like how many people need?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do think that the awareness is still not there yet.
Mm.
But of course, with the seed that we are planting right now,
Yeah.
For example, the Bring Your Own Vegetables movement, more and more people see that other people is doing it. So although they may not be the one who start the behavior, but at least they have that in their mind already. So awareness may not be there, but it requires a lot of repetitions for them to actually realize, oh, okay, yeah, rupanya, they are doing this for getting more fiber intake. It's not because they want to lose weight or what. Yeah. So I think, yes, awareness is not there, but we don't have to be too sad about it. It's just we really have to do something about it. Don't feel like, oh, it's dumb and just over. Yeah, people just don't want to do it. It's okay. But no, just feel like you can make a change through every single step or small step you make as a healthcare professional.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Out of curious as well, when you started this movement, right, or maybe the movement or the things that you are doing, for example, bringing vegetables when you're eating out, does that influence the people around you? Or, for example, your family member, your friends, did it?
Yeah, they do. So when I started this movement and show it more often on my Instagram story, the first thing is my parents. So they started to bring cucumbers, cherry tomatoes to their kopitiam or to their dim sum breakfast. And then some of my friends tag me, and some of my friends will say, oh, I remember about this. But I remember I want to bring, but sometimes I forgot. But at least they know. Yeah, but at least they have that awareness in their mind. So there are some, like what you said, ripple effect.
Yeah, I think we should gather, the healthcare professional, dietitian or nutritionists who are content creator as well, to, I don't know, like out of nowhere, this idea just struck me, and I think we have to do something when a lot of different, because I can see a lot of content creator, I believe there are some of them inspired by you, right? To step in to create content online through consistency and everything. But if let's say we can gather everyone in together, I don't know, just for a period of time, really make big noise.
Like a 1 month challenge,
like a 1 month challenge, really make a big noise. I think, oh my God. Okay. We can talk more about this. Okay. Right. So we due to time constraint, but basically I have two more questions. One question would be, what would be your advice for people who don't really like to eat vegetables, but they need fiber? Like maybe just one or two advice, because I believe in our previous episode as well, we share a lot of the content related to this already. But the last question I will ask you later.
Okay. Okay. So the question is how to encourage people who don't like vegetables to eat more
fiber.
Vegetables, right?
Either to eat more vegetables or to eat more fiber. Okay.
More fiber. Yeah, correct. Correct. So yeah, which is a good point. You said focus on fiber, right? So
Yeah.
if they really don't like vegetables, okay, the first thing they can go for is whole grains. So they can
Yep.
try corns, they can try brown rice, they can try even raw oats. There are a lot of whole grains that they can explore to add in to their meal. Wholemeal bread, wholemeal pasta, wholemeal chapati. So these are the things that they can add more fiber in their diet. And second thing is be patient. You still have to eat your vegetables because it's just different. You get different types of vitamins and minerals from vegetables too. So you still do have to try your best to try your best to pick up vegetables. But I think a better mindset reset for them, reset lah for them is that whenever they approach vegetables, don't see it in a way where they have to eat it. They are forcing themselves to eat it. So every time if they explore, if they stumble upon vegetables and they want to eat it, or maybe they are trying to eat it, usually they don't want to eat it at the beginning. So they try to eat it, see it in a way where they are doing experiment. They are exploring instead of forcing themselves to eat. So this time maybe eat 1 piece. Next round eat 2 pieces. So every single progress matters. 2 pieces better than none. 3 pieces they're better than none. Or fried bitter gourd better than none, because it is tasty. Fried bitter gourd from the banana leaf rice is tasty. But that could be a good introduction for people who don't like vegetables. So it is still better than nothing. Although fried bitter gourd is not the thing that we should always go for general population. But for people who are just starting out to try to eat more vegetables, different cooking methods that may suit their taste bud can help them to pick up vegetables better, do it. Yeah, so they don't have to see it in a way where they can only eat blanched vegetables or eat salad. That's not. Yeah, we Malaysians have a lot of resources, a lot of different vegetables going on, so they can explore and then they can give themselves a time to get used to the taste of vegetables.
Right. There's a very solid advice or like no suggestion that coming from you, and I believe if let's say our audience, any one of you who might facing this struggle right now, you probably know you need fiber, but it's just that vegetable would not be your type. So try to think about it and try to implement small steps in your daily life. All right. So Ziling, we have last question. I have last question for you. All right. So this was just out of random as well, but I would really want to hear from you, because basically you already been, let's say, starting from 2020, which is almost 4 years of content creating. Okay, be it a side hustle or like a full-time content creator right now. What would be your best advice for the Ziling 4 years back during that time? Like looking back right now, how would you tell her, or what would you tell her?
4 years back. 4 years back is like 2020.
Okay, imagine you're just starting out. You're just starting. Step the first picture of your food and then post on Instagram. And right now there's someone. Okay, you are going to give some.
Yeah. Just tell them, right?
Yep.
I think it's probably a very, very cliche advice. Keep doing it.
Just okay.
Just keep doing it, because you really don't know where you are going. Back then, 2020, 4 years ago, you really don't know where you are going, but you have a really good mindset with you. You have a very good you have passion in this. So keep doing it. Keep learning new things. Don't limit yourself within one single identity, and you do good. Yeah.
All
So
right.
that's probably one of the things that I'll tell them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's so true, because to keep going, keep doing. Behind that there will be a lot more things that.
Of course, a lot more things,
Yes.
but because this is very philosophical. Maybe you can cut this off.
Go ahead. No
This will be
problem.
very philosophical, because for me to go back to tell them something something very important, it wouldn't be that person anymore. So if that person know, oh, there's this new information, 4 years down the road, I will be a 190K followers influencer or content creator, that particular Ziling 4 years ago may not be working hard as much as possible already.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a very philosophical way of discussing this. But yeah, so
I understand that. But actually, the main reason of all this type of question is more towards to reflect back, and
true.
There will be some of the things that probably someone who are listening and he or she might struggle with consistency, creating content, one content, that could be a very good source of motivation. But understand from your philosophy aspect.
True.
All right.
Just put yourself out there lah.
Yeah. All right. Just put yourself out there. Just trying your best to improve or to increase the visibility of the nutritionist and also dietitian. If let's say you're a dietitian, right, or even whatever things that you are doing, I guess it doesn't really applies on healthcare professional only. But if you really want to make something, start with a purpose and keep going, as what Zhi Ling was saying.
Yes. Right. Good summary.
Yeah. Okay. So we are towards the end of our conversation already. Basically, to summary on what we have talked about. Now, basically, throughout this conversation, I managed to understand your journey before up until now better. And of course, we talked about the fiber intake. Very solid advice on how to start small to increase fiber or vegetables intake in our diet. And that's pretty much of our discussion. And once again, thank you very much, Ziling, for your time and to accept this invitation. And if our audience, if you just get to know Ziling, which you can always find her Instagram. We are going to take her on our Instagram, and also I believe you can learn a lot of information from what she's doing right now. Right. So if you like our content, feel free to like and share with someone you love. And that's all for our episode today. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.